Once upon a time, in a cozy little town nestled between rolling green hills, lived 3 best friends, Leo, Mia, and Sam. Their favorite place in the whole wide world was a magnificent old oak tree at the edge of Whispering Woods. And in that oak tree, perched high among its sturdy branches, was their treehouse. It was their kingdom, their castle, their spaceship, anything they imagined it to be. But lately, a strange rumor had begun to spread. The kids at school started whispering that their beloved treehouse was haunted. It all started when Tommy from down the street swore he heard spooky moans coming from it late one night. Then, Lily said she saw flickering lights in its windows when no one was supposed to be there. Soon, no one wanted to play near the old oak tree anymore. Leo, Mia, and Sam were heartbroken. Haunted? Our treehouse? Leo scoffed, trying to sound brave. That's silly. Mia, who loved a good mystery, fiddled with her detective-in-training badge. Maybe it is, she whispered, her eyes wide with excitement. Maybe there's a secret to uncover. Sam, who was a little more cautious, just shivered. I don't know, guys. Spooky moans and flickering lights sound, well, spooky. That evening, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, the 3 friends gathered at the base of the oak tree. We have to find out what's really going on, Leo declared, holding up a flashlight. For the honor of our treehouse. Operation Treehouse Ghost is a go, Mia added, pulling out a notepad and pencil. Sam took a deep breath. Okay, I'm in. But if we see a real ghost, I'm running all the way home. One by one, they climbed the familiar rope ladder, their hearts thumping a little faster than usual. The air grew cooler the higher they went. When they finally pulled themselves into the treehouse, everything looked just as they had left it. Their comic books were stacked neatly in a corner, their secret snack box was hidden under a loose floorboard, and their drawings were taped to the walls. It didn't feel haunted. It felt like home. They sat in a circle on the floor, their flashlights making wiggly patterns on the ceiling. They waited, and waited. The minutes ticked by, and the only sounds were the chirping of crickets and the gentle rustling of leaves outside. See? Nothing, Leo said with a relieved sigh, about to suggest they go home. But just then, they heard it. A low, soft moaning sound. Woo. Woo. It seemed to come from right outside the window. Sam grabbed Leo's arm, his eyes as wide as saucers. Mia shushed them, her ear pressed against the wooden wall. The moaning continued, a sad and lonely sound in the quiet night. Then a faint light flickered outside, casting dancing shadows into their clubhouse. The flickering lights, Mia whispered. It's all true. Leo, determined to be brave, crawled slowly toward the window. He peeked over the edge, expecting to see a ghostly figure floating in the air. But what he saw was much stranger. He gasped. Guys, you have to see this. Mia and Sam crept over and peered out. There, nestled on a thick branch just below their window, was a big, beautiful owl. Its feathers were the color of cinnamon and snow, and its enormous golden eyes blinked slowly at them. And as it swiveled its head, it let out another soft call. Woo, woo. The ghost, Sam whispered in amazement. It's an owl. Mia started scribbling furiously in her notepad. Of course, owls are nocturnal, so they only come out at night. And that sound isn't a moan, it's a hoot. But what about the flickering lights? As if on cue, a tiny pinpoint of light blinked near the owl, then another and another. Soon, the air around the branch was filled with dozens of tiny, glowing sparks, dancing like fairies in the dark. Fireflies, Leo breathed. The flickering lights are fireflies. The owl seemed to be watching them, completely unafraid. It hooted again, and this time, it didn't sound spooky at all. It sounded friendly, almost like it was saying hello. The 3 friends spent the next hour just watching their new neighbors. They named the owl Professor Hoot because he looked so wise. They realized the fireflies were attracted to the warmth of the treehouse and the light from the town. The mystery was solved. Their treehouse wasn't haunted. It was just hosting some very special nighttime visitors. The next day at school, Leo, Mia, and Sam couldn't wait to share their discovery. They didn't just say, "The treehouse isn't haunted." Instead, they told everyone the amazing story of Professor Hoot and the dancing fireflies. They called it The Secret of the Night Watchers. Soon, the treehouse was more popular than ever. But now, kids didn't just come to play during the day. Sometimes, with their parents, they would gather at dusk at the bottom of the old oak tree. They would sit quietly, hoping to hear Professor Hoot's gentle call and see the magical light show of the fireflies. The haunted treehouse was no longer scary. It was enchanting. It was a place where they learned that sometimes the things that seem scary are just things you don't understand yet. And if you're brave enough to look a little closer, you might discover something wonderful. From then on, Leo, Mia, and Sam added a new rule to their treehouse kingdom. Rule number 1 was still, no grown-ups allowed. But rule number 2 was, always be kind to our nighttime neighbors. They would leave out a little bowl of fresh water for Professor Hoot, and they made sure to turn off their flashlights before leaving so the fireflies could have the night to themselves. Their treehouse was more than just a place to play. It was a bridge between their world and the quiet, magical world of the night. And as they drifted off to sleep in their beds each night, they would listen for that distant, gentle, woo, the sound of their friend, the guardian of the treehouse, wishing them all a good night.